Close the door, she whispered. Silence sealed the boardroom tight. Nathan's truths filled every corner. Emma's death, pharmaceuticals, Damien's plot. Each word weighed heavier still. He spread Emma's notes slowly, watched Olivia's face pale deeper. Revelations carved shock into silence. Her empire's walls now trembled. Secrets cracked the glass facade. "You're saying Damien killed Emma?" Her voice steady, trembling beneath. "And now plans killing me?" Nathan's reply was quiet steel. "He's done this before. Again. I can't stop him alone. I'm just a janitor here. My word means absolutely nothing. But you have the power. Dig deeper. Find needed proof." Olivia paced toward the window. Monster hidden within her company, trusted, promoted, fed his power. She turned back, eyes searching. "Why should I trust you?" Nathan's gaze met hers firmly. "I have nothing to gain. Everything to lose. My daughter. I could have stayed silent instead. People like Damien can't win." Something in his pain rang. Raw honesty shattered her defenses. Olivia nodded, resolve replacing shock. "What do you need now?" "Records, logs, my daughter's safety. If Damien realizes our moves..." Olivia's answer cut swift, decisive. "Done," she said, steel returning. Alliance forged inside Sterling Tower. Truth began its quiet war. Olivia spoke without hesitation, calm. "I'll secure your daughter, discreetly. For records, I'll use experts. My forensic accountants will review everything." She paused, eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "But Nathan, may I call you? We must move carefully now. If Damien suspects, he'll strike." They planned in shadows, cautious. Each move masked by cleaning rounds. 2 weeks of secret unraveling followed. Threads of corruption intertwined like wire. Even Olivia was utterly stunned. Damien's deceit ran frighteningly deep. He'd built a shadow empire. He sabotaged deals from within, turned board members into quiet traitors, prepared his coup with precision. The poisoned coffee was escalation, each attempt bolder than before. Working together changed everything slowly. Walls between them began softening. Olivia's cold mask sometimes cracked. Her dry humor slipped through. Late nights birthed unlikely friendship. Nathan's silence found new strength. His mind sharp, precise, calculating. Engineering instincts caught hidden patterns. Damien's schemes lost their mystery. Olivia watched, half awe, half trust. They shared takeout and confessions. Stacks of files surrounded them nightly. Laughter broke tension between investigations. "I've missed eating from boxes," Olivia said, smiling with chopsticks. "The board will be horrified." Nathan smiled faintly, then paused. "Lily loves Chinese food, actually." He caught himself, words slipping out. He rarely mentioned his daughter. Their worlds were oceans apart. But Olivia leaned forward, curious. "Tell me about her, Nathan." Her tone was warm, sincere. He couldn't help but answer. "Lily's smart. Too smart sometimes. She tells awful jokes," he laughed. "But she's kind. Always kind." His face softened when speaking. The room felt suddenly lighter. Olivia listened, eyes distant, reflective. Something unspoken stirred behind composure. "I always wanted children," she said, "but this life devours time. My father left no space. The company always came first. Always." Nathan's voice lowered, almost tender. "That's a choice, not destiny. Your father's rule, not yours." Olivia's gaze met his evenly. The air between them shifted. For a heartbeat, words vanished. Then her phone buzzed sharply. An alert. Emergency board meeting tomorrow. Damien Cross was making moves. Next morning, tension filled Sterling Tower. Every board seat was occupied. Stakeholders lined the glossy walls. Damien arrived armed with numbers. Projecting catastrophic losses under Olivia, cherry-picked data that painted a picture of incompetence and emotional instability. The attempted poisoning has clearly affected Miss Sterling's judgment, Damon said smoothly. His gray suit impeccable, his presentation flawless. She's seeing conspiracies everywhere, trusting janitors over executives, neglecting crucial deals to chase shadows. For the good of the company, I move that we vote on a temporary transfer of leadership until Miss Sterling can recover from this traumatic experience. Several board members nodded in agreement. Olivia sat silently, letting Damon build his case, letting him grow confident. Nathan stood in the corner, ostensibly there to clean but actually waiting for his cue. Furthermore, Damien continued, I've discovered evidence of serious financial irregularities that occurred under Miss Sterling's watch. Funds diverted to personal accounts, suspicious payments to unnamed consultants. I fear our CEO may be suffering from more than just stress. Those are serious allegations, Mr. Cross, said Harrison Blake, though his tone suggested he was already convinced. Do you have proof? I do, Damien said, producing a folder of documents, bank records, emails, a clear pattern of embezzlement that you created, Olivia interrupted, standing slowly. Every single one of those documents is forged, Mr. Cross. Rather skillfully, I'll admit, but forged nonetheless. Damien's face reened. This is exactly the paranoia I'm talking about. She's accusing me without any evidence. Oh, I have evidence, Olivia said, her voice carrying the authority that had built an empire. Mr. Carter, would you please share what you discovered? Nathan stepped forward, and the board rustled with surprise and disdain. But their expressions changed as he began to speak, his military bearing evident, his voice clear and authoritative. He presented the financial forensics, the pattern of sabotage, the connections to Emma's death and the pharmaceutical company scandal. He showed them recordings of Damien's conversations obtained legally through the company's own security systems. This is preposterous. Damien exploded. You're taking the word of a janitor? A man who clearly has a vendetta against me? His wife's death was a tragedy. But to blame me, how did you know it was his wife? Olivia asked quietly. Nathan never mentioned that detail. Only someone who was involved would know that connection. The room fell silent. Damien's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. Nathan pulled out his final piece of evidence, Emma's research notes, her documented fears, and most damningly, a memo from Damien's previous firm, discussing the opportunity that would arise from the pharmaceutical company's unfortunate scandal. You killed my wife, Nathan said, his voice steady despite the rage burning in his chest. You killed her because she was going to expose the truth, and you used her death to make yourself rich. And now you're trying to do the same thing to Miss Sterling. Board members were pulling out phones, calling lawyers, and calling the police. Damon made a break for the door, but security was already there. Detective Chen led them with an arrest warrant that Olivia's lawyers had helped secure the night before. Damon Cross. Detective Chen announced, You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, corporate fraud, and embezzlement. You have the right to remain silent. As they led him away, Damien turned back, his gray eyes blazing with hatred. You think you've won? I have friends. Resources you can't imagine. This isn't over. Yes, it is, Olivia said firmly. Your friends are already distancing themselves. Your assets have been frozen, and every crime you've committed is being investigated. It's over, Damien. The boardroom erupted in chaos after Damien was removed. Some board members apologized to Olivia, others demanded explanations. Still, others were already calculating how this would affect stock prices. Through it all, Olivia maintained her composure, taking control of the narrative, turning a potential disaster into a triumph of corporate governance and justice. But her eyes kept finding Nathan, who had retreated to his corner, suddenly aware that his part was over. He was still just a janitor who had stumbled into something bigger than himself. The adrenaline was fading, leaving him exhausted and oddly empty. When the board finally dispersed, Olivia approached him, Nathan, I need to thank you not just for saving my life, but for everything, for trusting me with your story, for fighting for justice for your wife. I should be thanking you, Nathan replied. Without your resources, your courage to take on Damien, Emma would never have gotten justice. I want to offer you a position, Olivia said suddenly. Head of security or engineering, whatever you want. Name your salary. You don't belong cleaning floors, Nathan. You never did. Nathan was quiet for a moment, thinking of Lily, of the life this could give them, but then he shook his head. I appreciate the offer, truly, but I don't want charity, and I don't want to be the janitor who got promoted because he saved the CEO. If you want to help, there is one thing, anything. A scholarship fund in Emma's name for kids who've lost parents. Make sure it covers not just tuition, but living expenses, books, everything. And he hesitated, then continued. I'd like to go back to school myself, get recertified as an engineer. I'll work for it, pay it back, but I need a chance to become who I was meant to be. Olivia smiled, the first genuine smile he'd seen from her. Done. The Emma Carter Memorial Scholarship will be established this week. And as for your education, consider it an investment. Sterling Enterprises will need good engineers when you're ready. That evening, Nathan picked up Lily from Mrs. Rodriguez's apartment. Her face was bright with excitement over a perfect score on her spelling test. As they walked home, he told her everything about Mommy, about justice finally being served, about the changes coming to their lives. Lily listened solemnly, then slipped her small hand into his. Mommy would be proud of you, Daddy. You were brave. I was scared the whole time, Nathan admitted. But you did it anyway. That's what brave means, right? That night, as Nathan tucked Lily into bed, she asked, Will we see the pretty lady again? The one from the tower? Miss Sterling? I don't know, sweetheart. She's very busy and important. She seemed sad, Lily observed with a child's intuition. Maybe she needs a friend. Nathan thought about Olivia, alone in her tower of glass and steel, surrounded by people, but truly connected to none. Maybe she does. 3 weeks passed. She's the best part of me, Nathan said simply. The best part of Emma, too. Sometimes I look at her and see my wife's kindness, her determination to make the world better. Emma would be proud, Olivia said, of both of you, of what you've accomplished, the justice you achieved. They sat in comfortable silence, the city lights twinkling through the window, Lily breathing softly between them. Finally, Olivia spoke again. I've been thinking about what you said, about choices. My father chose the company over family, but I don't have to make the same choice. I've been so focused on protecting his legacy that I forgot to build my own. She paused, gathering courage. I'd like to try to be part of something real, something that matters beyond stock prices and board meetings. Nathan reached over, taking her hand carefully. It won't be easy. Our worlds are very different, but not our values, Olivia countered. We both believe in justice, in protecting others, in doing what's right, even when it costs us. That's more than most people ever find. Lily comes first, Nathan said firmly. Always. I wouldn't want it any other way, Olivia replied. She's remarkable, and she makes you who you are. The man who saved my life, not once but twice. Once from poison, and once from a poisoned life. As if sensing the moment, Lily stirred, opening her eyes sleepily. Miss Olivia, are you staying? Olivia looked at Nathan, a question in her eyes. He nodded, squeezing her hand. If you'll have me, Olivia said to Lily, your dad says you make the best pancakes on Sunday mornings. The best, Lily confirmed, fully awake now. But you have to help. It's a rule. I'd love to help, Olivia said, and Nathan heard in her voice the same thing he felt in his chest. The sensation of coming home after a long, cold journey. 6 months later, the gossip columns would have a field day with the story. Billionaire CEO dating former janitor, a modern fairy tale or corporate scandal. But in the small apartment in Queens, where Olivia now spent most weekends, the headlines meant nothing. What mattered was Lily's laughter as Olivia helped her with homework using engineering concepts Nathan had taught them both. What mattered was the three of them at Coney Island. Olivia shrieking with delight on her first roller coaster, while Lily and Nathan laughed. What mattered was Nathan's graduation from his recertification program. Olivia and Lily cheered louder than anyone as he walked across the stage. The Emma Carter Memorial Scholarship had grown beyond their wildest dreams, helping hundreds of families. Nathan now worked as Sterling Enterprises' head of sustainable engineering, a position that used his military experience and his renewed credentials. But more importantly, he worked regular hours home every evening for dinner with his girls, both of them. On a quiet Tuesday evening, as rain pattered against the windows, Olivia stood in the kitchen she had once found so foreign, but now navigated with ease. Nathan watched her help Lily set the table, their movements synchronized like a dance they had been practicing for years instead of months. "I love you," he said suddenly, the words escaping before he could overthink them. Olivia turned. Her eyes were bright. "I love you too, both of you. Does this mean you're going to be my mom?" Lily asked with characteristic directness. Olivia knelt down to Lily's level. "I could never replace your mom, sweetheart. She'll always be your mother, and we'll always honor her memory. But if you'll let me, I'd love to be part of your family." Lily considered this seriously, then nodded. "Daddy smiles more when you're here, and you make him less sad about Mommy. I think she would like you." Nathan pulled them both into a hug, feeling Emma's presence not as a painful absence, but as a gentle blessing. She had loved him enough to want his happiness, had loved Lily enough to want her to have a complete family again. Later that night, after Lily was asleep, Nathan and Olivia stood on the small balcony, looking out at the city lights. "I never expected this," Olivia said softly. "When I walked into that boardroom months ago, I thought I had everything figured out. Success, power, control. But I was empty inside, wasn't I?" "You were guarded," Nathan corrected. "There's a difference. You had love to give. You just needed someone to give it to, and you needed someone to see you." Olivia replied, "Really see you? Not just the uniform you wore." They stood in comfortable silence. Two souls who had found each other in the most unlikely circumstances. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, the ongoing trial, corporate battles, the complexities of blending two very different worlds. But tonight, they had this: a small balcony, a gentle rain, and the promise of a future neither had dared to imagine. In the end, it wasn't about the billionaire and the janitor. It was about two broken people who chose to build something whole together. It was about a little girl who needed a family and created one through sheer force of will and innocence. It was about justice and love and the courage to speak up when silence would be safer. Nathan thought of that morning when he had shouted across the boardroom, risking everything on an instinct. One voice, one moment of courage had changed everything. He pulled Olivia closer, breathing in the scent of her perfume mixed with Lily strawberry shampoo that had somehow gotten in her hair during bath time. "Thank you," Olivia whispered against his chest, "for saving my life." "Thank you," Nathan whispered back, "for saving ours." Sometimes the most powerful love stories begin not with attraction or passion, but with a simple act of courage. One person chooses to protect another, even at great cost to themselves. Nathan and Olivia's story reminds us that love can bloom in the most unexpected places, between the most unlikely people, if we're brave enough to trust to forgive and to build something beautiful from the ashes of our pain. Share this story if you believe in the power of second chances, in the triumph of justice, and in the endless possibility of love to heal even the deepest wounds. Isk.